What is going on, Gorehounds? Welcome to the Gore and More podcast. As you can see, our Fluff Master Supreme, Big Johnny D, is not here with us. His family is under the weather, so we wish him well. So I will be steering this shit show tonight.
Yeah.
I am your host, the Ghost Prince of Paranormal, Lord Scuba Cabra, a.k.a. Scuba Steve, and I can't do this shit show alone. So with me, as always, way down yonder from the Chattahoochee, we got the Dark Lord of Knowledge himself, Mr. Chad Daddy Chrisman.
What's up, bitches?
And the beloved, illustrious, sensual meat mountain himself, Bobby Amoni.
Hold on, you're making me pull a chubby. Good evening, everybody.
Sensual, I like that.
Baby.
That was good. Good evening, everybody. It is Monday. Sorry,
Yes,
give me
it
a
is
second.
Monday. What are we?
Okay.
May 11th? May 11th already?
March 11th.
Or March
May
11th.
11th. I was like, wow.
We'll get there soon enough. Don't worry.
Yes, we
with the
will
way
be.
time's flying. And today we're going to be talking about a movie from 1990, The Guardian. But before we do that, boys, it is now time for your Slice of Life! Chat Daddy!
Very, very nice. By the way,
Yeah.
this is the first slice of life I feel we've had in a few weeks, so it's nice.
It is, actually.
Nice and
It's very
refreshing.
nice. You know, and it is kind of nice to not have to do the Slice of Life because we just get into the meat and potatoes of the episode. But I feel like I want to know what's going on.
Same.
So hit us with it, Chad Daddy.
Oh, there hasn't been much going on, like you, I was, not feeling the greatest last week, so I was more than happy to let Mr. Bobby Amone do the behind the scenes and give my voice a little bit of a rest, but I'm feeling better. My cough is pretty much gone. I did, take a day off work today just to get a little extra day of rest just for the hell of it. Not much is going on, having a little issue with my car, but that's going to get fixed. I got the part ordered. It's actually not that bad. It's like with taxes and shipping and everything, my part came to only $77.
That's not bad.
Ooh, that's cheap.
Mel's
Yeah,
having an issue with her car right now too, and I priced out the part at AutoZone, and it was $500 and something. I went to eBay Motors; it was $50.
Yep.
So,
Shit.
Yep, I know that feeling. Yeah, but it's just some simple little thing. It's the speed sensor in the wheel. It's reading wrong, so it's setting off like the ABS, the traction control, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not a big deal. So I took it to the mechanic today, and I just want to make sure we got the right part ordered. I'm like, because I want to make sure I don't order the wrong thing, because that kind of happens to me. He's like, yeah. So we looked it up. I'm like, cool, that's the exact one I was looking at. He's like, order it. Let me know when it gets here. We'll set up an appointment. So it'll be here Friday. Next week I'll get it fixed. Probably gonna take maybe an hour to fix. Won't be bad at all. Yeah.
nice. Yeah,
Nice and simple.
I'm not going to a mechanic. I looked up a YouTube video and I said, you know what? I can do this.
This involves taking off the whole wheel hub and everything, and
Yeah.
I don't have the tools for that.
Well,
So
sure, it's the throttle body, and I replaced it when I had my Ford Escape. I did it in my Ford Escape, and it was in a very easy spot. I didn't have to remove anything. There's a couple of things that I need to remove on. She has a Volkswagen, so it's a little bit more difficult, but it's basically the same. You just swap the part out, you're good to go. So
yeah.
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm not terrible as far as like doing some mechanic work, but that I don't really have a spot to do it at anyway, because I live on a hill, so I can't just do it right in front of my house.
Yeah.
So that kind of sucks, but it'll get fixed. So no biggie there. Aside from that, not much has been going on. Doing a little bit of gaming, doing a lot of relaxing. Oh, so over the weekend, my oldest daughter Chloe decided, we've been playing the game Clue a lot, and I'd say over the dozen or so, sessions that we've had, I've won probably 8 of them.
Damn.
So we sat down today. Chloe's like, I want to play Clue. I'm like, all right. So I'm sitting there. We go through, and I won. I'm like, you know what? If I keep playing you guys, we're gonna have to change the name of this game to Clueless.
Nah.
Steph wasn't amused. Chloe actually laughed. So yeah.
The little one laughed. That's all that matters. Then.
The women usually don't take losses that well.
Okay, just keep in mind, Chloe's 13, so Dad's already not very cool. But for her to laugh at that, that's pretty big.
Hey, that's a win. That's a dad win right there.
It is. Oh my God, Chloe! Like, she has been so sassy lately. Like, not like in a bad way,
Yeah.
like in a funny way, like in like a comedian way, like she's like a stand-up comic anyway.
Yeah.
Lately, freaking hilarious the stuff
Wait
she's
till
been coming
about
up with.
15, 16. 15, 16 is horrible.
Nah, I'll be dead.
Shut the hell up.
Speaking of not losing, there's Stephanie now.
Let's see what else has been going on. Not a whole hell of a lot, just playing games with the kids, doing the dad thing when I'm not working. And I watched this interesting movie that we're going to talk about. Like I said, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. And Steph even said it was entertaining. But we'll get into that a little bit when we get to the discussion part. So, Bobby, take it away, buddy. What did you do this weekend? Did you do anything fun?
I might have. Let me see. What did I do? Oh, that's right. I attended a show, Monster Mania Con in Cherry Hill, New Jersey,
Nice.
and one of us also joined the other at this show. Mr. Fluff Master Supreme was there with me. He was there with his sister and brother-in-law. We actually shared rooms. Our rooms were
nice.
connected by the door. So
The door.
we
Did you leave the door unlocked?
Hell, well, we couldn't actually. Well, the weird part, because it's actually one of those. So both doors, so when they close, there's only handles on either side. So if it closes, you got to knock on the other door.
Knock
Like,
on it.
hey, open it up. So we had a good time. I hung out with them a little bit. We were hanging out with other people. I had my girlfriend and my friend Tay and our friend Sam in the room, and I cosplayed as the 1984 Terminator, which was fun. Actually, it came out pretty well. It still needs.
It did. It looked it looked really good. It looked really good. I saw some of the pictures you were tagged in.
I still want to tweak. Like, I want to get the better color shirt, and I want to do, instead of the full gloves, I want to do the cut off ones.
Yeah.
And combine like the first part of the movie and that part of the movie. So, but that'll be for later down the line. And it was cool. I got to meet Tom Atkins and Stacey Nilk. I got them on a double photo because I didn't meet her yet. So I was like, well, let me just get the double photo and meet them both.
Yeah.
And then I met Burt Gummer himself.
Hell yeah.
Michael Gross. He was one of the best people I ever met. He was so happy to talk to everybody. And he was just giving facts and this and that. And I had him write on my picture, memo, 4 pounds of C4, maybe a little excessive.
Nice.
Like he was. I said, if you have to do a shortened version of it, because I was like, he had so many people. It's like, if you have to shorten it, he's like, no problem. Write it out, no problem. And I got a picture with him. I'll post that this week. And he's like, I'm not used to looking up to people when I'm taking a picture. He said, this is a first.
You know, I was gonna say, I've been around Big Johnny D. I have not had the honor of meeting you in person yet, but I know how big John is height-wise compared to me. So seeing John next to you and him just looking tiny, like I'm like, God damn, Bobby's a fucking giant.
I'm not. Well, the first time I met him at NJ HardCon, I'm like, he's a lot. I mean, I knew he was a big guy, but I'm like, taller than I thought. I don't know why. I was not expecting it. And even
I thought we were going to be like, the same height. Cause of course, I mean, we only ever really see each other on here.
Yeah.
So I thought, we were all pretty much within a few inches of each other. No, I'm not as tall as I think I am.
I think we're
You're
literally
closer to
like
my height than Big Johnny D there.
I still love that picture we took where we look like a cell phone signal.
That's what it's going to look like when the four of us are all together. It's going to be like this. It's going to be like the ski slopes. So, but no, it was a great weekend. I'm tired. That's probably why I'm like a little, because I started back to work today, but it wasn't even a work day. We had stuff on the schedule. So we get there and they're like, well, there was actually supposed to be nothing on the schedule because it was so goddamn windy. We couldn't get up on roofs. You can't go on a ladder. So it's like, well, I mean, we're kind of okay doing it, but it's your call. If you don't want us to do it, we'll just get shit ready for the week. So that's what we did for 2 hours. We cleaned out the truck and got shit ready for the week. So I'm like, well, now we don't have to. We can come in tomorrow morning, say hello, and go, and still be done early. So, which I'm ready to be back to work. Honestly, I like the time off, but I'm ready to be like, I want to make money. I want to get my shit going, and I've had enough downtime.
Mm-hmm.
Could have utilized some of it a little better, but I can utilize my time even better now. Aside from that, speaking of little car issues. I think my car has unbalanced tires right now because the 2 tires over in the back, they got rotated to the front. and both of them had shit in them when they were in the back. Like this one got a hole, so that one got patched. This one got a hole, it got patched. So when they got rotated, I don't think they got balanced. But I can't fix that one, so I'm just like, next oil change, take care of that shit.
Yeah.
So, but that was about it. And yesterday I watched this movie. Same thing, interesting. Didn't love it or hate it, but talk about that in a second. Scoobs, give it up, baby.
Let's see. What did I do this weekend? Friday, I just worked at the bar, had a pretty chill night. Saturday, though, Saturday was filled with craziness. We hosted our first ever wrestling event here in my home city of Corpus Christi.
Mhm.
And
Was that the
so
pictures on that one page that were okay?
Yeah. Yeah, so it was our first show here. We didn't know what the turnout was going to be. You know, it was a pretty big venue. We didn't know if we were going to have empty seats, you know, because the pre-sale tickets really didn't sell a lot. And we pretty much almost sold out the place. It was so freaking
Nice.
awesome having people come out and support people I had never even met. People I didn't even know watched our stuff, but they saw that there was going to be live wrestling, so they showed up. And you know, and I want to say we showed out. We put on a hell of a show. And I'm still hurting from my match. My match didn't go on too long, but I got hit with steel chairs, and you know that's not fun.
Right.
But it looked really good. Everything came out awesome. They're editing the footage right now, so hopefully we have it thrown out on YouTube here soon. But yeah, that it was so cool to just see how these people just came out and supported us, and everybody cheered, and the bad guys got booed, and you know I'm supposed to be the top heel in this company. My character, Lord Draven's like the biggest heel in the company. People were cheering for me,
Nice.
you know, and that always blows my mind. And I'm like, well, I kind of get it because I always cheer for the bad guy also, you know. So I come out and I'm in my new wrestling gear. We have a ramp, we have lights, and we never had lights and shit before. So we went all out this time, and it was really cool, man. We had one of our original champions from when we first started this. He left the company on bad terms in real life. Well, behind the scenes, we ended up all making up about a month and a half ago, almost 2 months. Nobody knew about it. So he came in the ring, and he's the one who hit me with the steel chair. They introduced a new faction and took his mask off. He was wearing a ski mask, and the crowd was just like, what the shit? Because nobody ever thought we were going to bring him back to work with us. And so it was really cool seeing that. I can't wait for people online to see it because their heads are going to fucking explode. We've already posted a welcome back graphic, and people are like, what the fuck? Like, we got a lot more surprises coming up too for the company. So it was really cool. We made a fuck ton of money. Like, I counted the money and I'm like, whoa, what? How much? Okay, cool. We have enough money to pay for the next venue and some. So let's start working on the next fucking show. So
Nice.
Nice.
that was pretty cool. And then on Sunday, really didn't do much yesterday. What did we do yesterday? Oh, we went to our little flea market, indoor flea market that we have here, and we were walking around. We were gonna get tattoos. Mel and I are gonna get Gatekeeper and Keymaster tattooed on us with the Terror Dogs. So I set that up with my buddy that has a tattoo shop, and but we just walked around and we drank, you know, what's called agua fresca, which is just like it's juice made from like watermelon. Like you just grind up the watermelon. It's delicious. It's fucking amazing.
Ooh, that sounds good.
It is. It's really good. And so we just walked around, and Mel we were walking by, and she ended up seeing a little arcade thing. Like it's just the controllers for an arcade. We're looking, and it's got 11,000 games on it. I'm like, holy shit. So I start typing in games, and it's got anything you can think of from like older systems.
Mm-hmm.
It had all the Dragon Ball Z games I used to play on the PlayStation that I had to have like the little adapter for because it was like
I remember that.
Japanese only game. It's got like every Pokemon game that came out on the systems before, like the fancy ones. Like it was worth the price that we paid for it. So we got that. Charlie was playing Tekken yesterday, just button mashing, and
I saw the pictures of that. That was awesome.
It's got Marvel versus Capcom. It's got the X-Men game. It's got like all the old school arcade games are on this thing, and Totally worth it. So I
I
played
love
it for
that.
a little bit.
I love how it looks like an arcade deck too.
Yeah. So, and you just plug it in and plug in the HDMI and you're good to go. So
Shit.
yeah.
That's
And so
cool.
that's
That's
what we did
cool.
yesterday. And then today I got to watch this movie, which we're going to talk about right now, which is The Guardian, which was released April 27th, 1990. Who wants to take the plot rundown?
I'll do it. This was my pick, so I'll give it a plot.
Let's go.
Sweet.
The idyllic lives of yuppie couple Phil and Kate seem complete when they select the winsome young Camilla as a live-in nanny for their newborn child. But the lovely young Camilla, whose natural sexuality begins to work its spell on Phil, is not what she appears to be. This becomes shockingly apparent when she is set upon by a trio of rape minded thugs who meet with a particular nasty fate in the woods. But it seems to take the parents much longer to come to the same conclusion. In fact, the woods are the key to the entire equation, as Camilla is revealed to be a powerful forest entity from Druid mythology who intends to sacrifice her infant charge to a hideous tree god, the Guardian. Directed by William Friedkin, The Exorcist, To Live and Die in LA. Written by Dan Greenberg, Private Lessons, Private School, Stephen Volk, Afterlife, The Awakening. William Friedkin, The French Connection, The Sorcerer. Produced by Joe Wizen, Dark Night of the Scarecrow, and Fire in the Sky. Chad, care to take the starring?
Sure. Starring Jenny Seagrove, Deadly Game, Don't Go Breaking My Heart, as Camilla Grandier, Diana Julian, Dwyer Brown, House 2, The Second Story, and Gettysburg as Phil Sterling. Carrie Lowell, License to Kill, Sleepless in Seattle as Kate Sterling. Brad Hall as in Troll and Bye Bye Love as Ned Runcie. Miguel Ferrer, Robocop, Deep Star 6 as Ralph Hess, sorry, Natalia Nogalich, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Steal Big, Steal Little, as Molly Sheridan, Pamela Brule, The Philadelphia Experiment, Stuart Saves His Family as Gail Krasno, and Gary Swanson, Vice Squad, The Bone Collector, as Alan Sheridan, body count total of 7 people and 1 tree.
Who was she in National Lampoons?
I think she's that woman that he runs into in the mall. The cashier. It's the only person I could think of.
I'll have to look it up real
Huh.
quick.
I
Interesting.
don't know.
All right. Well, while you look it up, music by Jack Hughes, Prison Stories, Women on the Inside, Act of Memory, A Christmas Story. Cinematography by John A. Alonzo, Navy SEALs, Star Trek Generations. Edited by Seth Flom, Fanboys, The Replacements. Effects and makeup by Robin L. Darcy. Graveyard Shift, Child's Play 2. Distributed by Universal Pictures. Runtime of 92 minutes. MPAA rating R. Budget. But it grossed $17 million.
Doll hairs. That's a lot of doll hairs.
Yeah, that's a lot of doll hairs.
a lot
All
of
right,
doll
boys. Let's generally discuss this bitch.
I'm not. All right. Well, being my pick, the reason why I chose this movie, I've talked to Brody about it. I'm sure you heard. So that compilation called Boogeyman, a killer
Yep.
compilation.
Yep.
Mhm.
I remember that.
The ending scene is in that. So ever since I saw it, I was like, I'm so curious. What the fuck is this movie about? And that's
Yeah.
literally why I was picked for this. So
Yeah, I honestly I had never heard of this movie, and I remember you mentioning it on the Boogeyman compilation, and I was like, oh yeah, it does kind of ring a bell. And then when I read the synopsis, I was like, damn, have I seen this or not? And it wasn't one that I had seen. I'm not gonna say I'm glad that I saw it. It was kind of mid for me.
It was.
that's yeah.
It had such a great premise though. I
Yes.
do love the premise of it, how there's this ancient evil that is going around stealing babies and feeding them to the woods essentially.
Okay, so let me interrupt. This lady played Mrs. Shirley in Christmas
This
Vacation.
is Shirley.
Oh, the big boss's wife. Brian Murray, who plays Clark's boss, his wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She looks so different.
Yeah, way different.
I gotta say, if her picture in IMDb is a recent picture, she's looking pretty good for her age.
Oh, wait a minute.
Could be an older picture, but
I don't know.
No.
I did like at the beginning, when we see the parents getting ready, and I knew right away, instantly when they left. I said they're gonna turn back around. They're gonna turn back around. Like I
yeah,
knew though that wasn't the. I didn't watch any trailers on it. I didn't look anything up, but I said this is not the main family that we're gonna be focused on. I knew they were gonna turn around. And she's like, "Oh, I forgot my glasses." He was
As-
too. He was way too like. Okay, let me turn around. I'd have been mad. I'm like, "Are you
yeah,
serious?"
you'd have been pissed off.
yeah.
Like, dude, your glasses. Like, you need your glasses. Why would you forget your? Where the hell were they going? Because she
Probably
said, "I'll see you Sunday."
probably away for the weekend. Who fucking knows?
I would guess.
Like the second it cut to them in the car after what we were watching, I'm like, yeah. I was the same thing. I'm like, yeah, they're gonna go back. And also, the way she said it, she's like, "Huh, guess what? You're not gonna believe this, honey." And all you see is the car just turn around on a not so busy road, which they live in LA, and I'm like, I don't really think that's also real either. That road would be busy as fuck at that time too. Which I don't
Yeah,
know why that little bit bothered me too.
I don't know. I just wish there would have been a little bit more in the lore of whatever she was supposed to be.
Like I said, that's the same discussion me and Brody had this morning. Like there was a lot of potential. There was a really potentially good storyline
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
They had the ingredients. They just couldn't mix it perfectly into this recipe for a
Yeah,
really good movie.
because it did. It had a lot of potential, and like I said, I loved the fact that it was this ancient entity that went around and basically fed the forest,
Children.
and yeah, and kids at that, and she had to get into the homes until I guess the blood was ready, which I did it really ever explain that?
Didn't it?
It said she said something about it when she was talking about right after he was born to the parents, saying, it's like after they're 8 weeks old, their blood completely changes.
Yeah. So it's like
It was kind of foreshadowing that when she said that, which I kind of figured.
See, and I wish we would have had somebody that had knowledge about that kind of creature. You know what I mean? Maybe some kind of like guy in the chair that knew about that, or somebody that had been trying to put this together, these disappearances and stuff, because it would have made more sense to have maybe like a detective or somebody that had been looking into these cases of missing babies, because that's a big thing when a baby goes missing.
Yeah, so like how often did they have to sacrifice a baby to this tree? Because she kidnapped that one and sacrificed it not long before this.
Yeah.
it was like 6 months. So
Yeah.
think maybe it's every 6 months that they at least need one to keep it alive.
But I mean, at that point, I think there would have been a lot more baby faces, unless they disappear, as their nutrients are getting fed to the tree, like over time. You know what I mean? But like I said, I just wish there was more to the lore. And I think that's what this movie was lacking, was the fact that we didn't get really anything in depth about the lore of this creature.
No, we didn't.
I also wasn't too keen on the whole, like, the wolves thing. Like,
they didn't need to be there.
No, they didn't.
It didn't.
And that was
It
just
didn't at all.
to connect it more to nature. And that was one of my big issues with it, was the pacing of this movie. Like, okay, so it opens with that other family, right? Okay,
Mhm.
cool. And then it goes on for like, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes of this new family just moving into this house, her getting pregnant. I feel like that part wasn't really necessary.
Yeah.
Like it could have just showed them
getting pregnant,
having the baby.
I think. Like,
could have just showed them having the baby, moving into this house, boom. But there's a lot of backstory that really didn't add anything and wasn't really necessary. And another thing was the scene where that Ned guy was being chased by the coyotes, which were they wolves? Because they look more like wolves
Okay,
than coyotes.
hold on.
They called them
He
that.
said coyotes. He said
Mhm.
coyotes when he was on the phone. I had the subtitles on, and it said wolves.
Yes, it does.
So that was something that I wrote down too, to ask, were they wolves or were they coyotes? Because they looked more like wolves than coyotes.
Yeah, because wolves are a bit bigger.
Yeah, and
Coyotes
coyotes
are
are also
scrawny.
a lot more thin than what those were.
Yeah, so I figured that
But
was so. But like I said, like the whole scene where he's getting stalked by them in the house, dragged on way too
way too
fucking
long.
long.
Yeah, that did go on way too long.
Like that needed to be
Four,
cut in at least half.
And it
I was
wasn't
say
even
4
really
minutes less.
intense. Like it
No,
wasn't
it
even
wasn't.
really intense
No.
at all. Like there was lock the door. I mean, they're fucking dogs. What are we gonna do? You know? I mean,
Yeah.
and I feel like that scene, but that's how it was kind of a lot with a lot of it. It just kind of took too long to get to the point. Like I said, with the original nanny that they hired when she hit the pothole and then, flipped over and ultimately died. It took way too long to get back to who the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like way too long. Yeah, we don't say that second name right there, Daniel.
We will not say it. We will not.
We will say
Well,
Angela from Night of the Demons, but the
That's
second
fine.
name we do not say because when we say that name, shit starts
Shit goes
going
down.
wrong on this podcast.
Exactly.
It does.
Well,
She
and I will.
she is a real entity.
But yeah, that was also with that first death. Yeah, with her, like also it's never brought up again until way later in the movie where you
Yeah.
kind of really forget who she was.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, if you had brought that up maybe like say just like 2 minutes after, because you know that would have been made the news, I think, or at least to some sort of degree. So it's like that could have been talked about earlier, not half hour later. And it's like, irrelevant at this point. But
Or
sure.
like missing woman or something, because if they never found her, I mean, it looked like she was out in the middle of nowhere, so she had to have been reported missing or something. She didn't show up for work or she didn't show up home. Somebody would have reported her missing. There was just little tiny things that I feel they had the missed opportunity to tie this in and make it a more formed,
cohesive.
more cohesive film.
Well, the one thing I will say I liked, especially in the beginning, I love that the little kid was kind of narrating a little like Hansel and Gretel tale.
Yeah.
I like that a little bit. I'm like, ooh, okay, I see where that was a nice little weave into it.
Yeah.
That's where it's like, ooh, okay, I like that lore. Now, where's it going to go? It did miss a lot, and I know there was a lot also wrong.
I kind of almost wish it would have been a Hansel and Gretel situation to where it was a witch in the woods.
That would have made more
Essentially,
sense.
it would have made way more sense.
I mean, it was kind of like what we got. And also, is that how Hansel and Gretel originally ended, with like the witch living in a tree? I'm not too familiar with.
I thought it was Candy House.
The version we know is always like a gingerbread house, but how
old that story is.
around.
I was saying been rewritten too. So maybe the original version is who knows, but it's also, well, what is the original version? It's been told how many times.
So yeah, it still says the original written version of Hansel and Gretel ends with Gretel pushing the witch into the oven, which kills her. Gretel frees Hansel and the two children, steal the witch's treasure, and return to the cottage. So she was in a house. It's always been a house.
I think they wanted this to be maybe a little more connected to nature.
Which, probably. I mean, it still makes sense because she's feeding the babies to
the tree.
Yeah. And, I will say, how I'm always like, man, I love it when movies end on a fucking where the bad guy wins, where this is one movie where I wish when he killed the tree, it would have released
the babies
that were in there.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting that.
I wanted a happy ending in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also feel there was two scenes that were oh shit scenes, but it was when those muggers get killed, and the point where he walks from with the chainsaw in his hand to the tree going down. Those are the two most intense.
Those are the only scenes that I really liked in the movie.
We did get some really good gore in this. I'll give it that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially but we could have. No, go ahead. Sorry,
especially the scenes with the attackers.
We could have used, even if not more gore, a little more intensity, because that tree looked like I don't know. You could put so many scenarios with it. That tree looked like it could have been just such a bigger presence. And Camilla also using it more too. If you could manipulate that tree, you could manipulate that forest.
And that's what I didn't understand. Was Camilla the tree? How was she connected to the tree?
I think she worshipped the tree. That's the impression that I got, is like she was its minion, acolyte, whatever you want to fucking call it.
Yeah,
it's some kind of spiritual nature spirit. I don't know, but
it's almost like you tend to me. I make sure you're pretty much immortal as long as you tend to me.
but they had to be linked somehow because when he starts cutting the shit off the tree, she starts losing limbs and shit too.
Right.
So I don't know.
Again, we didn't get a lot of lore explained. I will say this: when the whole scene of him fighting the tree with the chainsaw was one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like I don't know, I feel like it was unintentionally funny. Like I don't think they meant it to seem that comedic.
I agree.
But you know
with
what? I
that.
laughed when the chick fucking fell off the bike. Like I literally laughed out loud in my office when she fell off the bike. I was like, "Oh shit, what the fuck?" And then she's just dead, and I'm like, "Okay."
I laughed when the wife ran over the obviously fake coyote's head in the
Yeah.
driveway.
Oh yeah.
Because it didn't even look real. It was just like literally just a dummy laying there. Like it didn't even try and move. And she ran over its head. I freaking laughed so hard.
And what were they though? Like were they just wolves or were they spirits as well?
I didn't. I
Were they
kind of figured. I kind of thought they were
protectors?
just like. I thought they were just like wolves or something that they could summon. Like Dracula's minions or something.
It just didn't make any. It made no.
Well,
I mean, it made sense, but it just didn't tie together the way I wished it would have tied together.
Right.
And there's also some little continuity issue, and I find it so strange. So when she's fighting off those muggers, she's on the ground at one point, and the baby's not in her hands. About 0.2 seconds later, she is all of a sudden on top of the tree, laying there with the baby in her chest.
Oh, dude,
I'm like,
there was a lot of editing bullshit in this. When she's leaving to go walking or whatever, when she gets dressed or whatever, and she leaves the house to go walking, you see a car that's already passing in front of her, right? In one scene,
yes.
and then it cuts to her again, and the car's barely passing her again, and it's the same car. It wasn't. I mean, it's not like she was walking down a busy street, but you could clearly see that they did not edit the timing correctly with that car passing by.
It makes me. Well, we'll know because I know there was so much issues with this. The director William Friedkin, he wanted it a certain way. The writer wanted it this way, and then somebody else wanted it this way. And ultimately, I think Friedkin kind of got what he wanted, but he definitely got an unfinished product.
Well, I mean, but going from The Exorcist to this, like, this was caca. This was caca. Big old pile of caca right here.
Like Steph said at the end, when the family, they leave the police station, they go back to the house, and he goes out to chop down the tree with a chainsaw. And I agree with her. She's like, why didn't you get the fuck out of the city?
Why didn't you burn the fucking tree down?
Yeah.
Burn the fucking tree. And that's what I thought he was going to. I thought he was going to go burn it down, which would have made more sense than to try to fight this fucking thing.
Yeah,
because
leave the city, come back later and cut it down.
That tree hit one of those muggers with the branch and his fucking head exploded. But this dude gets hit by the fucking tree and it just knocks him down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was so interesting.
He had that plot armor on real thick.
Yes, he did.
So,
go
ahead.
The only thing I was going to say also, when the one mugger on the ground, you see a root come up through the bottom, it automatically nails him, which means the tree could do that. But when he goes to chop the tree down, it comes up, but it's nowhere near him.
Yeah. Had he already sliced the tree though?
Not enough to.
I think he was still slicing that root off when he did that or something.
Yeah, but I think because, and this is fucking far fetched, but maybe because he had already hurt the tree, it was in pain and it really didn't have the positioning down or something. That's the only thing that I can attribute to. But I mean, I just wish we would have gotten more of the tree, more of the lore. Her design at the end was kind of eh.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen her more. I don't know.
I say witchy. That's what comes
not more witchy, but maybe have like something coming off her head that looked like branches, but they were horns that looked like branches or something. Like make her more woodsy, I guess. More folksy.
A tree monster, like almost.
Yeah, exactly. Like
instead of like a mostly naked woman with bark on her titties.
Yes, exactly. Which we did get titties in this movie, and usually that saves the movie for me. And in this case, it did not save. And I will say that baby was naked a lot. I know, Bobby. Yeah. You've never had kids. You don't have kids yet, Bobby.
Not yet.
That baby was without a diaper a lot.
I noticed that too.
No, I noticed. I noticed that.
I'm on the couch naked. what the fuck? Like, who? And then when he put the baby in the crib at night after
After the bath.
the baby was naked.
Yep.
Who the
that
fuck
drove me crazy.
does that? I'm like,
And also, now I'm no parent yet, but I don't know about you boys. This baby looks like it took quite a bit of abuse, and they certainly did not know how to handle it in certain scenes. I'm like,
they did not.
you are not running down the fucking hallway
Look
the way you did.
When she got tripped on the stairs,
Oh my god,
that fake baby's head hit the fucking floor hard.
Yep.
Like it bounced. You saw that. I was like, that baby. Yeah, that baby's gotta have fucking issues.
Yep,
I
there's
know
some
it
brain
was
damage.
I know it was a fake baby, but I went like that was the only time where I went like this. God no, the baby.
She was running the way what's her face did in Nightmare 3 with that dead body.
Yes,
Put me down, you're hurting me.
fucking skeleton, get out of here. But no, it wasn't.
And I didn't go
bad
back and
movie,
look,
it-
but you know, they you can only use babies for a certain amount of time. Well, I don't know how it was back in the 1990, but I know you can only use kids on screen for like a certain amount of time. So I wanted to go back and look, and I didn't look to see if it was the same baby from the beginning. It wasn't. It was a different baby.
I don't know if it's a different baby, but they had 4 babies playing the baby. 2 sets
Okay.
of twins.
There you
Okay.
go.
Okay.
Yeah, like we said, it's not a bad movie, but it had a lot of potential that was missed.
It's just got a lot of holes in it. It's got a lot of cheese in it, Swiss cheese, and it's hard to look past it. And
It
it's
is.
hard to
No,
say that it's a good
100%.
film because there's so much that just doesn't make any sense. The plot holes in it are just kind of like hard. I mean, and in some movies we can look past it. Some movies, it's fun to look past, and it's like, you know what, it is what it is. It's a movie. I couldn't force myself to get past the stuff that was irking me in this film.
You want to know why? Because this movie took the very serious approach with what it was trying to tell. So it's like, if you're being serious about it, you don't want to have it serious plot hole, a serious plot hole, serious. You don't want to be poking holes in it when you're trying to really make it something that's leading up to something.
Yeah.
The sad thing is, as far as going with evil trees in movies, even though we haven't gotten a lot of them, this is still, I would say at best, number 3 of the evil trees. Because, they did it better in both Poltergeist and the original Evil Dead.
Yeah.
I was gonna go Evil Dead. Just in
Yeah,
general, the best.
but
Of the best
That was
one.
a rapey tree.
That whole
Yeah.
tree scene, excuse me, that whole tree scene at the end was totally fucking Evil Dead.
It was.
Him covered in blood. He looked very much like Ash at the end of
Mhm.
that movie, standing in that window with his wife and kid.
Well, funny enough, I mean, I know Chad said, but I'll say it now. The person who was originally supposed to direct this was Sam Raimi.
And I think had Raimi had the chance, it would have been a completely different movie, and we'd be having a completely different discussion right now.
True, and we would not have done Darkman the same way. I don't think, because that's why he didn't do this.
He would have done
Went to
Darkman.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I mean. So we probably would have never had it.
In another universe, boys.
Far
So
away.
you guys ready to hear what the DKB has to say?
Absolutely.
Yep, absolutely. Let's do it.
Here we go.
Well, howdy fucking doody there, folks. It's your DKB here, back for another episode of Gore, and this week I'm here to talk to you about Living in Freakins, The Guardian. Yes, that's right, this nostalgic gem for me personally. Look, I'm probably only like one of many that really appreciate this film. I definitely think it's fucking underrated for what it is, especially a film by William Friedkin. It's definitely a product of its time. It's something a little bit different and very original, if I must say so myself. And what I really appreciated about it is the many types of different weird, genres that help create this film. It's probably mainly that erotic thriller, the folklore tale. It's driven by ultra violence at certain scenes. But I definitely think it works for me personally. And yeah, I can really appreciate what Friedkin was trying to do with this film. So I will agree with a lot of people about this film, and that is essentially how boring it can be in between those fantastic scenes that we do actually get in this film. And that simply could have been handled a lot better by, not introducing these characters we just do not give a fuck about. that meet the family and they're just there and then they're gone. Maybe essentially have people die at the tree or explain a little bit more lore of this character and who and what she is. You know, that's kind of another thing for me personally, that I just wish we had got a little bit more of. Not for Friedkin to really explain it to the audience like we're stupid, but just give us a little bit more pieces here and there, just so we can go, oh, okay, yep, no worries, picking up the pieces for ourselves. But yeah, the pacing in this film, well, not the pacing itself, it's probably more so those just scenes that we just do not really fucking care for that make it a little bit crap. Moving on to the positives of this film, I love the opening score to this film. I think it's absolutely fucking underrated, underappreciated. Definitely sets up the film for me personally as the genre of a folklore tale. The cinematography in this, cinematography is very simple, but what I think makes it really unique is the fact that a simple effect of a blue neon light behind either the character or the landscape of the location at night, that exterior, you know, silhouetted shadow play of the forest or a character in the background. I just think it's simple and yet somewhat effective, and it brings that dreamlike haze to this film that I mentioned earlier. But yeah, like I said, the cinematography is very simple but yet somewhat effective, mainly due to the lighting. I love the ultra fucking violence we get in this film. It's absolutely fucking fantastic for what we get. There's some creative kills here. I mean, there's a tree that kills people. I mean, that's just so far-fetched that it's absolutely fucking fantastic to see unfold when you see it. I love the ending. I love the ending, how a guy goes evil dead and starts to look a little bit like Bruce Campbell in some scenes with a chainsaw cutting down a tree, as there's a face in a tree that weeps blood, and then the Sheila's leg comes off that's linked to the tree. I mean, it's just fucking gore-tastic shit. I love it. I fucking love it. It's body horror, and I fucking love it. Yeah. Did I mention I love it? Yeah, I do. All in all, I don't think this film is a masterpiece. It's far from it, absolutely. I will agree with that. But it's a film for me that I can put on and fucking enjoy every time I watch it, and I will admit there is a little bit of nostalgia, like I mentioned earlier there, just there, you know, to help really connect me with this film and keep watching it and watching it. In saying that, I'm going to give this film a Gore Moore score. I'm going to give it a 3.4. I feel that's fair. Anywho, this is your DKB here signing out, and I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say about the film. And yeah, I will catch you next week, gentlemen. Cheers.
Cheers,
All right.
Brody.
Thank you, Brody.
Cheers. He
Indeed.
pretty much hit the nail on the head.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
I mean, yes,
he was
and no,
definitely
but-
more. He was definitely more positive than we've been. So
Well, I mean, and he has, you know, he has that film background. You know what I mean? So it's expected for him to like certain flicks that we really don't connect with. You know,
Mhm.
I knew he was gonna like this one because he had already talked about it a bit. I don't know. Even after listening to his positives about the film, sometimes he gets me, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'm being too rough. This time I couldn't get into it, and like he said, we needed those little snippets of the lore, just
We
little pieces here and there, and there should have been more at the police station. You know,
yes.
I'm sure that they had a case from 6 months before where the lady was missing her baby, but who was missing their baby before that, and before that, and before that, and before that. And
Right.
so depending on how much they needed to feed the tree, there should have been a case linked together already with that information,
Oh, yeah.
And instead of being like, well, we couldn't find her. We went there, we went to the tree and there was nothing there. Like, no, like there should have been a little bit more investigation on the police part for it. And I feel that just kind of took me out of the movie. I know we can't get realism in every movie that we watch. And in some movies we don't want realism,
Mhm.
but in this movie, I feel that was something that was lacking completely. And that could have given us a completely different angle on the film, to where somebody, maybe another detective, maybe that one blew it off, but there was another cop that's like, no, I believe you. I know what's going on. Have you ever heard of a fucking wood nymph or whatever the fuck she is? And
Or like some kind of weird random conspiracy theorist that
yeah,
like homeless person in the neighborhood, something like that,
yeah.
Someone to explain something.
Yes,
Eh,
exactly. We needed that guy in the chair. So,
We did.
yes, we did.
so with that, Chad Daddy, are you ready to spread them wooden cheeks?
I am. I'll be your guy in the chair for what I got.
Let's go.
So
Go for
Jenny
it.
Seagrove was unhappy with the film's constant rewrites and wanted to make a completely different film. She said to The Guardian in 2007, not connected to this movie, by the way. It was about this druid nanny who became a tree. I begged Universal to make it about a real nanny who kidnaps babies. They said, no, we can't do that. They said the 30-somethings in America won't come and see the film. I said, I think you're completely wrong. This film is total fantasy and it's just awful. 2 years later, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle was released. So I rang up my friend at Universal and he said, don't even talk about it. You were right.
Damn.
And I think this is originally based on a book called The Nanny, which I think is basically what she wanted it to be.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that
Yeah.
I don't know per se, but I think the original book was really just about a nanny kidnapping kids.
Yeah, no, you are right. And it's funny. Another movie came out. And it's like you were right. Maybe I should just left it alone. Is what it is. Continue.
Was to originally be directed by Sam Raimi, but he left the project early to direct Darkman. Producers brought in William Friedkin, and the project suffered through several rewrites, sending co-writer Stephen Volk into a breakdown, and Friedkin eventually took over the writing duties himself.
Wow.
Something tells me that he was not very generous to work with on this movie.
Doesn't seem to be.
Yeah.
No.
Wow.
I mean, the guy, he made The Exorcist, so he does have that for his credibility. Love it or hate it,
True. I
He's got
think
some
he
pretty-
also, yeah. Not only that, he also worked with the writer of the book, who also wrote the screenplay
Yeah.
along with him on that
Yeah,
movie. So
exactly.
you're
So
coming from a totally different. Like, I've had this relationship, whereas this is just not that match made in heaven or hell.
yeah, but I feel like even if they would have given us the proper story or the stuck with the source material and gone with a nanny just kidnapping kids, okay, cool, but what's the horror aspect of it? What's the allure for that flick? I've never seen Hand the Rocks Cradle, so I don't know.
Same.
Never heard of it till now. So
No, you're younger than us, so
Yeah,
I remember it being fairly popular back in the day. But yeah, I never.
it wasn't, but it wasn't one that like interested me into watching it. So
Yeah.
fair enough.
I don't know.
This,
All right, what else we got?
This is one of only 2 feature films that William Friedkin wrote nothing about, positive or negative, in his memoir, The Friedkin Connection. The other one being Deal of the Century from 1983.
Wow, so he didn't even mention this flick at all.
Didn't even mention it.
Sheesh.
One of those things where less said, the better, I'm guessing.
Wow.
Shit. Yeah, all right, yeah. Okay, continue.
I mean, I'll get into it. There is another cut of this movie, but we'll get into that later. So, a new effects crew was brought onto the scene after the initial tree failed to work mechanically. The new team constructed a tree that held 500 gallons of fake blood and detachable bark.
Jesus
Nice.
Christ, that's a lot of blood, and I love
Well,
it.
you got to do something when you got a shitty story.
Yeah,
Gore it up.
still,
Add another gallon in there, why don't you?
that's that whole 80s mindset right there.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Not wrong.
This the delivery scene used real footage of an actual live birth.
Oh wow.
Shit.
You know what? Kaylee's in the chat right now. I feel this, Kaylee, you should watch this movie. You should. You're always one with nature and stuff like that. I think you would appreciate this movie. I didn't. I would have paved that entire fucking forest.
I could see her saying, "You know what? This movie's complete garbage." She's like, "They
Maybe.
got everything wrong."
Oh no, definitely. But I think it's a premise that she would be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I could see that.
I'm just saying I would have burned that fucking forest down and paved it over.
A lot of gasoline, just like, yep, let's let it run.
Mhm.
Continuing on, this was Friedkin's first horror movie in 17 years since The Exorcist.
Well, we can tell.
He should have stuck with The Exorcist and left
Should
it.
have just let fucking. Should have never touched this.
Actually, he should have done
Better.
a sequel to The Exorcist instead of that garbage ass sequel we got.
Yeah, agree with that.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a second. So, what made The Exorcist actually scary to anyone that actually saw it, and to me, it's not scary, was the fact that this little girl was not possessed by just a demon, but the devil
The
himself.
devil. Yeah.
And then they go in the sequel and completely shit on it, but like, oh, and it's just a demon called Pazuzu.
Yeah,
Pissed me off.
yeah. I saw The Exorcist 2 once. I think I
Yeah, you
took
don't
it back
need
to
to
the.
go
I
back.
think I took it back to the rental store that
I didn't
night.
even rent it. I think I watched it on like USA or something, so I didn't even see
Yeah, it
the
was like
full
USA or
uncensored version.
TBS the first time I saw it.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
all I saw. I'm like, it's a
I
no
was
for me, dog.
I was hot on Hollywood Video at the time, so I was renting as much as I could as a kid, and I saw that, and I was like, "That's some bullshit." And then I saw the third one, and I'm like,
Three
"And
was
Third one
good.
was
why
good.
couldn't this be like? Why couldn't this just be Exorcist 2?"
Oh,
Three
the
was
third one was
good.
really good. The book was really good
I,
too.
I love it though when people say, "But how's it connected?" I'm like, "Really? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that it is connected. It's just not how you want it to be connected."
Bobby, Kaylee wants to know if you're old enough for Blockbuster.
Hell yeah, I went there too, but I liked Hollywood Video better
Hollywood
He
Video
was,
was
he was
nice.
renting like
because
he was renting the Lion King from Blockbuster. That's how young he was.
Hollywood Video had more, not a ton more, but a little more obscure hits in horror and other movies. So I liked going there and like kind of fishing through, like, ooh, what's here? Blockbuster,
Yeah.
you knew what you were gonna get.
Like I said before, I live in the middle of nowhere, so we had like mom and pop stores, and that was it. Like you could rent from a fucking drugstore, a convenience store, any place in town that had space. They rented videos.
Yeah. Oh, and that's the little market that we had across the street from the apartments that I lived in. They had a little video section, and that's where I rented the first videotape I ever rented, which was Return of the Living Dead. And I was like fucking 9 or 10 years old. Had no business watching that fucking movie, but it was cool. I
Okay,
miss.
buddy JJ. What's up, JJ?
What up, JJ?
What's up,
I,
JJ?
I miss those days. I miss those
Yeah,
days.
me
You
too.
just
I
don't
And
do
get that
too.
feel
I
anymore.
do.
yeah, and like I said, back then, we had like little mom and pop stores. This one was called Davidson's. Man, they had a great horror section. Like it was the most obscure stuff you could find. Like there was one called like the Boneyard, like really really low budget schlock. And I remember the cover of the Boneyard had like this big zombie freaking French poodle monster. Really
What the
weird
fuck?
looking shit.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Look it
Okay.
up
Nice.
sometime. Look it up sometime. But they had some really
Nice.
weird shit. But let's try and get back on track with
Yeah,
this.
let's get
So,
back on track.
Yes,
the
let's do
film
it.
score was composed by Jack Hughes. The film was his second collaboration with director William Friedkin as Hughes. As part of the group Wang Chung, he scored Friedkin's earlier action pick To Live and Die in L.A.
Nice.
So everybody Wang Chung tonight. Ooh,
Wow.
Kaylee.
So Kaylee says my mom accidentally rented us a soft porn. She got Treasure Island X instead of Treasure Planet. Well, shit.
I would
least-
love to
At
have been in
least
the
it
room.
wasn't pirates.
Shut up.
She's gonna come running in.
Kaylee said she had the poster for a poodle horror film as a kid.
That's probably it. The Boneyard. Look it up.
I would love to have been in the room when they all put the movie on, and it's like, "Yay, Treasure Island X!" Oh, now you can see her dad in the background. Hey, honey, you rented a good movie.
No, her dad is a pastor.
Oh, never mind. That makes it so much funnier, though.
Wow.
Let's see, is this it right here, Kaylee?
Oh, so she wasn't even in the room?
Oh
Yep,
my
there it is, the
god!
Boneyard.
Was that it,
Oh.
Kaylee? That looks
1991.
interesting there. Phyllis Diller's in it? Holy shit.
That's Phyllis Diller.
Oh, she's
That's not a poodle. That's Phyllis Diller.
Oh, wow, interesting.
No, I have no idea.
Oh,
Okay,
she
Kaylee,
said no, it
that's
was
a good
kind of
one.
similar.
All right. Anyway, so actor Paul Rawson was originally cast as Scotty. Rawson fell ill weeks into production. Despite being 8 years old, devastated and ill, begged William Friedkin to shoot his scenes near the end of production. Friedkin couldn't afford to change most of the shooting schedule and therefore hired someone else. After seeing the finished film upon its release, Rawson has gone on to say he was very grateful for having the flu when he did and still has his original script.
I would
Yeesh.
love to read that original script.
I mean, I looked up Paul Ross, and it's not like he's had like a really storied career. I mean, he's done like a lot of stuff, but nothing like high profile.
Fair enough.
But at least this didn't ruin it for him.
Yeah. Also, The Boneyard, 1991, is on Tubi, Plex, and Amazon Prime.
God damn it! I'm gonna have to watch it tonight.
I just figured I'd
Oh
let you
God,
know.
please do. Let us know how bad it is.
Uh,
The Boneyard. That just sounds cheesy.
go to the boneyard and then take Mel to the bone zone.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, that's a good segue. You get a high five for that one, buddy.
Absolutely.
Alan Smithy, a cable television version of the film is not billed to William Friedkin, but to Alan Smithy, a generic name which is used by directors when they don't want to be associated with the picture. This, despite the fact that Friedkin claims on the film's audio commentary he never heard of such a version. There are two versions of The Guardian, the theatrical cut credited to Friedkin and a modified cut credited to Smithy. The Smithy cut has never been released on home video or DVD and has only been shown on cable. It includes new scenes, including another scene in the hospital, different dream sequences, a scene of the nanny waking the wife up, and alternate angles for other scenes. Also, the ending of the cable cut is different and omits much of the gore.
Huh.
I'm curious what those other scenes are.
I couldn't find anything, but I know the ending, like it shows, like they just returned home with the baby and it shows her standing there with the tree. And I guess that's the way it ends. It might be, yeah, it's a very shitty ending.
So she didn't die in that ending, essentially.
No.
I like this version better.
Yeah.
This was released the same year, actually, as The Exorcist 3, the second sequel to one of Friedkin's most famous films, which we just talked about.
Way better flick.
God, way better. That's almost close to a 10 out of 10. This is not even half.
Yeah, it's pretty mid.
Well, we'll get there with the official score.
Yes, of course.
At the time of its initial release, several critics pointed out that this may be the first horror film in which a chainsaw is actually used against a tree.
Yeah, that didn't even come to mind until you just fucking said that. Jesus.
Damn.
Shit. Well, there's a first for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chicago Sun-Times movie critic Roger Ebert named this picture one of his most hated films of all time.
Like every horror film, for the most part.
Well, yeah, he didn't really like horror anyways.
And he hated Godzilla 1985, despite having the poster on his wall in the opening credits of his own show.
Yeah, wow. Hypocrite much? Bastard.
Oh, he's in hell now, so whatever.
That's true. The film was released 3 years after its source novel, The Nanny, by Dan Greenberg, had been published in 1987.
I kind of want to look up and see like what the main differences are. Because if that one's just about a nanny fucking kidnapping kids, and they made this one some fucking druid wood nymph.
Production designer Greg Finesca previously served as production designer on the film Eyes of Fire in 1984, which was also about a tree that takes over the souls of children and people.
Oh, what the fuck? Eyes of Fire?
Eyes of Fire. You're looking at that.
I'm going to look it up because, god damn it.
It's probably a better movie than this.
I was going to say, what if it's a better movie?
One of 3 movies with the Guardian title made during the modern era of Hollywood. This supernatural horror movie was made and released around 6 years after.
This looks way cooler.
This movie was made 6 years after the 1984 action crime thriller called The Guardian in 1984, and 16 years before the sea rescue drama The Guardian in 2006.
Oh yeah, that's why that kept popping up.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this. Look at the poster.
I would watch that.
Does that tree have like a gnarly, sharp toothed mouth there?
Yeah. Look at this.
Where can we find that? That poster alone looks better.
Look at that. Yeah, that kind of looks like Swamp Thing with a wig.
That's still better than what we got in this movie.
It is.
Yes.
It is. This is kind of what I wish we would have gotten.
Where can we find this?
I got it right
Only
here.
on TV.
AMC, YouTube, Sling, Amazon, and YouTube.
Free or rent?
I think pretty much all of them are rent.
All right.
It looks like a fantasy film.
It's an American. It says American folk horror film.
Oh, okay. That might not be bad.
This might be something to look into.
Okay. Camilla's depiction is based on the Hamadryad, a type of tree nymph or dryad from Greek mythology that is born bonded to a certain tree where its life is dependent upon. And her sacrificing of newborns to the tree is derived from Lilith, a figure from Judaic folklore believed to be the first wife of Adam before Eve, who has been depicted as either a demon or vampire and was known to cause affliction among newborns.
Well, at least we got the explanation of what the fuck she is. I
Kinda.
would have
Yeah.
liked it in the. I would have liked it in the goddamn movie, though.
Yeah, not to look it up.
Okay. And the last bit here, it goes on a little long, but I'll go through it anyway. The original script for The Guardian bore a closer resemblance to its source material, The Nanny by novelist Dan Greenberg, which told the story of a nanny who steals children. According to screenwriter Stephen Volk, Sam Raimi was originally attached to the picture. Raimi dropped out of production to direct Darkman, at which point Friedkin was brought in to direct. The script, which had originally been conceived as a tongue-in-cheek thriller for Raimi, eventually metamorphosized into something different during the course of filming, as Friedkin made numerous changes. Volk attempted to rework the script for Friedkin, initially rewriting the character of the nanny as a real-life Lilith, the child-stealing demon from Jewish mythology. Friedkin dismissed the idea, and Volk then reworked the script into a straightforward psychological thriller about an unhinged woman stealing children. However, Universal Pictures objected to the reworking, stating that they wanted a supernatural horror film given Friedkin's reputation for The Exorcist. Amidst the shifting script, Friedkin began auditioning for the role of Camilla. Uma Thurman was originally a candidate for the role prior to the script changes. After Volk suggested using elements from the M.R. James story The Ash Tree in the script, Friedkin became fixated on incorporating a tree into Camilla's backstory. Volk reportedly suffered a nervous breakdown and left the production, leaving Friedkin to finish the script's loose ends after filming had already began.
God damn.
So, like, he literally gave this guy a nervous breakdown trying to make a movie he wanted, and probably should have stuck with what the guy was trying to tell him in the first place.
Yeah, because you did not do good, sir. Not at all.
No, considering he's a director, he is a director. He's not a writer-director, where, again, that's you go back to The Exorcist, he was the director, but William Peter Blatty and him worked to make that what it was.
Yep.
Correct.
And then the funny part is, the third Exorcist is directed by William Peter Blatty, who was a writer, but look at the result we got.
Mm-hmm.
Because he wrote the novel too, which was called Legion.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So it's like sometimes opposites can do better. Sometimes they can't.
Yep.
And this is one of those ones where it's like, no, you can't write. Clearly, you probably should have left it. Maybe put some influence, but not fill in the plot holes.
Yeah, definitely. Was that it, Chad Daddy?
That's it, buddy.
All right. Well, thank you so very much for that. All right. You guys got anything else, or can we move on to the questiones?
I'm good.
I got enough. Keep going.
All right. What format was this watched on?
Amazon Prime.
I sailed the high seas.
Oh, Amazon
Yo
Prime
ho.
as well. Yo ho ho. You pirate, you.
Yeah.
She's still asleep. All right. Douche of the film. Camilla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was
pretty
stealing
much.
babies and feeding them to a fucking tree.
Yeah, she was the only real douchey character. Like, even Miguel Ferrer, who usually plays a douche in other movies, was
Mhm.
pretty straightforward in this.
Yeah.
It also bothered me that she just felt she knew more about their baby than they did.
Oh yeah.
Well, she's been sacrificing them for how many hundreds of years, so.
Yeah.
Well, she knows how
Yeah,
to
but
sacrifice.
as a parent, Chad, you know very damn well that if you had a nanny that was trying to tell you how to raise your kid or do
Yeah,
what to do
they
to
put
your-
up with a lot more than I would have.
Yeah, I'd have kicked that
I would
bitch
have been
out
like,
the first
bitch,
time.
no, this is my baby.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck off.
Yeah. All right. Favorite kill.
The dude that got his head crushed by the fucking tree.
That was good.
I love the guy. I love the one guy who got it fucking right up through the ground. It was like right through him.
I'm gonna say that whole scene as one kill because it's a tree kill. Tree kill.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean it. I mean, well, but no, I will say the head smash was probably my favorite because then you see the dogs like eating it
Eating his body,
afterward.
yeah.
Yeah, so
That was pretty
that
gnarly.
one. All right, best scene. Tree kill.
Tree kill.
I'm
The
going.
whole scene was a tree kill, yeah.
I'm going the ending where he's cutting it up. I'm going to take.
See,
that
I couldn't pick that. I was laughing through too much of it. I just couldn't take it seriously.
I like
was-
it. For me, that's a nostalgic scene because that's where I saw it.
It was Ash versus the rape tree.
It was.
That could be a great movie.
Yeah. Worst moment or scene.
That's easy for me. That's the part that I talked about earlier where the guy's getting fucking stalked in his house by the coyotes. They were wolves. Wolves,
They
damn
were
it.
definitely wolves. I'm telling you, the subtitle said wolves. It said wolf noises, wolf howling.
Oh, were there squelching noises at some point too?
No,
No,
I didn't
it
see
never
any
said
of that.
fucking-
No. I'm going to go with every boring moment in this movie, and however many there
Which
are.
there were many.
There was a
Yeah.
lot. I'm probably gonna say. I don't know. There's so many that I hate. There's so many fucking scenes that I hate in this movie.
The scene at the cops, the police station was pretty bad too.
I'm gonna go with the chick hitting pothole and going into the fucking bike because how do you miss that deep ass fucking pothole? That was. And then you fell onto what was that? A giant aloe vera plant? Like what the fuck? Like.
It would have been better if it was like a cactus.
That was a pretty shitty death scene.
Give me a fucking cactus or something. You just kind of rolled down that hill and then you weren't. She wasn't impaled. She wasn't. I mean, we used to roll down hills like that as kids and get up unscathed.
For fun.
Yeah. All right. Did the opening scene hook you in?
Actually, yes.
Yeah. I will say, yeah.
It did.
The
It was
opening scene was better than the rest of the movie.
It definitely was. I will give you that. It did pull me in, even though it was very predictable. And then the movie was just kind of downhill from there for me. I mean, it had its moments, but
it was very dark. Like if the whole movie kept that darkness to it, man, that could have been a fantastic movie. But we didn't get that.
All right, most attractive character. I'm going with the wife.
I was like the wife because I like the.
She had that nice little short haircut.
She was cute. I'm actually going with the wife from the first couple. I thought she was really cute too. When he went to visit her later on, I was like, she was looking pretty good there.
And she's probably single. I think they got divorced after the baby left because the dad was nowhere around.
They might have.
I forgot about that. That's probably the only exposition scene that you kind of get as close as you could.
Yeah. All right. Did the score set the mood?
It was all right.
Could have been better, but
I know Brody said he loved it, but I didn't really.
He said he loved it at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. I didn't really think of anything or hear anything that was like, oh my God, that sounds amazing.
It was like the movie itself, mid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, do we even have
apparently?
Do we even have anything to pick for best song?
I don't remember there even being a song.
So.
I don't. No. Favorite character?
Ooh.
I didn't have a favorite character.
That's kind of hard to pick.
Do we have to pick one?
I mean, I was going to just say the husband, only because eventually he's just like, who the fuck are you? Get out of my house. At least he came to a realization. That's not much.
Yeah,
I would have picked him as my favorite character.
Until
when he woke up, if when he woke up from that wet dream, if he didn't scream in that dream he was having like a little bitch when he realized he was having sex with Camilla in his dream, who the hell in their right mind screams? I'd have been like, ooh, okay.
Yeah, just give it to the wife.
Yeah, exactly. You wake up and it's like,
give it to the wife.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
So I don't have a favorite character. This one, I do not.
I don't think I can either.
I'll stick with him just to give something.
All right, that's fair. That is fair, and I think this is the first time I do not have a favorite character in one of our movies. Was it scary?
Not even a tiny bit.
No.
Not
Well, the thought
the
of
thought
a
of
nanny
somebody taking
stealing
your
your
baby.
that's
That
scary.
is scary. Yeah,
But if that's what they stuck with, it would have been a much scarier movie.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Does it hold up today?
No.
Not at
No.
all.
No.
I don't think it held up back then. Well, maybe it made $17 million.
I don't know. The funny thing is, I remember my sister going to the theater and seeing this, and I don't think she had a very high opinion of it either.
I also think the reason why it made the money was just because it had William Friedkin's name on it.
Maybe.
Probably.
I bet you.
How was the acting?
Not great.
It wasn't great, but it wasn't horrible.
The wife was good. I mean, she like, just not too long before this, she was in a fucking James Bond movie.
Yeah.
C minus.
Camilla wasn't too bad either in most scenes, and Phil wasn't
Yeah.
too bad. It was
No.
decent. What about the cinematography? Did you like it?
I love the colors of this movie. Honestly, I feel there were some good shots in it. But
I think the colored shots were cool, but it didn't save any of the cinematography for me. There was really nothing, no cool shots really. The editing was kind of off on it in some parts.
At least it wasn't overly dark like you get in a lot of movies now.
True that. Yeah, I will give it that. Did we like the premise?
Yes and no.
I like the premise. It just wasn't executed right.
But we needed more lore, more explanation.
Exactly. And I will say I do like the premise of a mythical creature existing in our world stealing children. I do like that premise.
Like I
do
said,
not like the execution.
Me and Brody were brainstorming a lot of really good ideas, and I'll bring this up because we both think this is something that's going to benefit from being a remake.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yes.
Definitely. Especially if they get in depth more and give us actual lore.
Mm-hmm.
If they do make it to where it's like it is Lilith that is stealing children, like hell, even better, So it was a promising premise.
Mm-hmm.
They just didn't pull it off correctly.
No.
Was the climax satisfying? I'm gonna say yes, only because we got to see him fight the tree.
Yeah,
and it was funny.
I do agree with that. So yeah,
and it was funny.
It was just so bizarre to me.
But I was satisfied with it. I'm like, yeah, you're getting your ass kicked. Oh yeah, chop
by a tree.
Yeah.
Fuck you, tree.
Yeah. Okay, all right. On to our 4 R's: recycle, rewind, remake, or reboot this bitch.
Remake.
That's what I say. Remake it.
I'm saying remake as well.
Because like I said, me and Brody had some really good ideas. Give us a little bit more lore. I thought, what if it's not just her, but it's like this whole coven or whatever of druids, and they're just going around.
Here's an easy way too, though. And this is what I wrote down. I wrote notes at work today, and I left them at work. But I do remember I wrote down the easy way they could have done this was to have an orphanage.
Oh, that would be
have them run an orphanage. Idea. And the babies disappear, and the older kids are catching on and wondering why. But what they're doing is they're adopting out to other creatures specifically for that purpose. And the older kids are starting to catch on to it. So you make it, instead of parents, you make it to where kids, it's not that it's a kid movie, but the older kids, the teens are the ones catching on to what's going on.
That would be interesting.
Because you can still call it the Guardian, because not only is it the guardian of the woods, but it's also their guardian in the home that is,
Yeah.
That would be my idea for a remake for this flick.
I'd have to sit down and think, but I do like that one.
I like the idea of it's this whole big cult of these druids, and they're just bringing babies from all over. It's not just there in Los Angeles; they're like from everywhere. You have this mass connected network of supernatural beings or something. I don't know.
And it could work also too because it's on a world scale, and that's what's keeping the old gods satisfied for the world to keep moving the way it's moving right now. Hell, tie it into fucking
Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin of the Woods. Yep.
There you go.
Yep. Tied
Ooh,
into
that would
fucking
be
Cabin
cool.
of the Woods. That'd be fucking cool.
Well,
Huh?
Cabin in the Woods, one of the monsters they had on their whiteboard was Angry Molesting Tree.
Mm-hmm. It sure the fuck was.
Forgot about that one.
Yep. It sure was.
Ah.
All right, boys. Let's get those scores. Bobby?
2.8.
All right.
Above half, but you know.
Chad Daddy?
I'll be a little more generous and give it an even 3.
Okay. I'm not going to be as generous, and I'm giving it a 1.5.
Ooh, you really hated this.
I hated this movie.
And we did not get a score from Big Johnny D. I'm guessing he did not get the chance to watch it.
Yeah, he said he was going to
Probably
try to
not.
watch it.
That is
so
perfectly fine. A lot of shit to do today.
divided by 4 gives us a 2.675 for 1990's The Guardian.
So we'll round that up to an even 2.7.
Yep.
Okay. It's above half, but
With,
you know.
yeah, it's still above.
It's not saying much.
Not
No.
really, no.
So what are we doing next week, Chad Daddy?
Next week, we are dipping our toes into the water of Mr. T.I. West, as Bobby called him. We're watching X. Did you think we forgot about that? I didn't forget about T.I.
No,
West.
of course not, because I mean Oogie Spooky is still a thing.
Oogie
after
Spooky is
how many
never going
years.
to die.
Oogie Spooky and T.I. West will never die either.
This is a movie I watched somewhat recently and didn't really care for, so maybe watching it again will improve my view of it.
Old people fucking.
Oh, I hope you like old people fucking.
I hope
That's
you
what
like
get.
old people fucking, because that's what you're gonna get.
Eh.
So next week we are watching X, and where can we find that? Let me see.
It's on
Pretty
Prime
much.
because that's where I watched it.
I got the DVD, so I
I
was gonna
think
say
I
on demand,
saw
but you
it.
know.
Let's see. It is on. And whose pick is this?
This is Big Johnny D's pick.
Alrighty. So it is on Showtime, Roku channel, YouTube, Hulu Premium, Sling, Prime Video Premium. So
This is Netflix, but I don't know if it's on Netflix. I don't know.
I didn't see it on Netflix.
Free on Prime. It's on Paramount Plus if you have Paramount
If you have
Plus.
Showtime, you have to have the Showtime.
Yeah, you have
package.
to have the Showtime package. Yeah.
Oh, and speaking of Netflix, I did want to mention that I was so fucking pissed off the other day when I went to
Oh,
watch.
I know.
Oh, so I tried to watch Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
Oh,
Pulled it up on Netflix, and it's fucking hidden behind a paywall. You have to have the full premium subscription, and my cheap ass won't pay for the premium subscription.
That-
I don't think it's
fuck
fucking
no.
worth it.
You
I'm
know,
so pissed.
that blows my mind that is where we're going now with these streaming subscriptions that we paid for years now. They're starting to
Yeah.
nickel and dime us the way the fucking cable companies did.
Yeah, it's bullshit. If you're gonna have a service like that and you're gonna put ads on it, make it free. Like
Yep.
Tubi. Tubi can
Tubi,
do it.
yeah.
So can
Yep.
you.
Yeah, Tubi does it all. And the funny part is, you say on Netflix it does that. It's free on demand, but it's free through Peacock. So if you're not subscribed to Peacock, it's not free for you. You got to get Peacock and pay for it.
Interesting. Well, do we have any nerd news, fellas?
We do.
Let's go.
Well, of course, the big news of the day and of last night was that my favorite movie of 2023 won its first Oscar last night for Best Visual Effects, a little movie called Godzilla -1.
Yeah, buddy. Round of applause.
First-
round of applause.
First Godzilla movie ever nominated for an Academy Award, and it fucking won. And
That's
I
awesome.
really feel it's because of the fact that the budget of it was under 15 mil. And that's the budget of the entire movie, not just the special effects budget. And they achieved so much with so little that it really helped in the long run. So congratulations to that team.
Yep.
Yeah.
Toho
Indeed.
winning big.
Congratulations, big time.
And this is nothing but good news for Godzilla fans, for Toho. That means that it's considered a legitimate film now.
Yeah.
It's going to be more widely accepted. So you're going to be seeing a lot more from them in the future, guaranteed.
Well, with that exciting and happy news for Japan. We also have some very, very sad news coming out of Japan, as in Akira Toriyama passing away, creator of Dragon Ball. One of the greatest, and I don't care what anybody says, Dragon Ball Z, greatest anime ever. That's what made me an anime fan. It's the very first anime I ever saw. So it's like when Stan Lee passed away. That's the same feeling I got when and Dragon Ball Z was something that I got to share with Damien. Anytime the new movies come out, the Dragon Ball Super movies come out, we go watch them together. So it's I can't say it was part of my childhood because I didn't find out about it until I was like 18 years old. But watching them with my kid and knowing that it was my kid's childhood and being such a fan of everything Dragon Ball Z, everything Dragon Ball Super, all the movies, it hurt. It did hurt. And to find out that he actually died on the first and they didn't announce it till days later, to give the family time to do what they needed to do. And by the time they announced it, they had already had his funeral. Supposedly they will have a memorial for fans at a later time, whenever the family's done grieving. So, rest in peace, Akira Toriyama.
Rest in peace. And he was working on a spin-off that they're still working on, which I think we've all heard about. I can't remember the name of it right offhand, but it's the characters being wished into children. But basically, it's Dragon Ball GT.
Yeah, I forgot what it was called. Magic, Dragon Ball Magic, or something like that.
But they're still working hard and heavy on that. That's still going to be a thing. The manga is still going. They are still planning on bringing back Super.
Yeah.
So
well, from what I heard was that he entrusted it to his son and one of the writers that had been working with him for a really, really long time. So hopefully we get, a lot of good content still from them and they just don't ruin his legacy.
I believe it will.
Yeah, so I think they'll keep it going for him good.
I mean, there's a lot of source material still that they can work that he actually wrote in the manga. So animate that. Don't go too far fast.
The manga's been still going on for years, so there's a lot of storyline yet to be adapted there. So it'll come back. It's not going away for a very long time. It'll live on. No matter what, it's going to live on.
Absolutely.
Yep. Bobby, you got anything?
Well, I mean, I think we all know Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. Next, it's coming, baby.
I already got my tickets.
March 22nd. I don't have mine yet, but I'm going to my local theater and
March 21st.
I unfortunately don't think I'm going to be able to go opening weekend because the kids have a bowling tournament that weekend.
See, you're a good parent. I would have been like, sorry, kids. Daddy's going to the theater. I'll take you.
My kids are really looking forward to it. I couldn't do that to them.
I would.
I'm excited. I would do the midnight showing, but I'll be fucking. I'm dead as a doornail today. I will be.
So, like, our theater shows it at Thursday, like starting at 5:00 Thursday.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's not even just midnight and then it goes.
No,
it's like,
no, they've really changed the way they do preview screenings and everything in the last few years. Midnight showings aren't a big thing anymore.
I
do miss midnight shows though. I miss midnight shows for horror flicks, especially.
That's how I saw the Star Wars Special Edition trilogy was midnight shows.
Nice. I think the only midnight show I ever went to.
The midnight shows for the special editions, the midnight shows for the first two prequels as well.
Nice. I went to a midnight showing of the Faces of Death back in I was in high school still. I wasn't even old enough to be in there. Snuck into that. That was. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have watched it. I shouldn't have watched it.
It's so tame. It's not even real.
I know.
But at the time, I thought it was real. Like, I thought it was real.
I remember when we finally got a chance to watch. My buddy rented it, and we all sat together and watched it. And that's it.
And it's still banned in the countries that it's been banned in forever, pretty much.
Yeah.
Don't understand that one.
And then I did go to a midnight viewing of the Night of the Living Dead when we had our dollar cinema here at the mall. They had I got to DJ their what did they call it? I don't know. It was like a zombie crawl there at the mall. So it was really cool. And then everybody went to go watch Night of the Living Dead. So those are the only two that I ever got to see.
I also got to see a midnight screening of Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, I bet that was cool.
That's always
that was
that's
a
always fun.
blast. That was a blast. One of the best theatrical experiences I've ever had, man.
See, I've never seen. I mean, I've seen the movie, but I've never seen the movie in theaters.
Mm-hmm. That was my first
seen,
exposure to it, so
I've only seen the play.
It was really fun.
The last one I remember seeing was actually Halloween 2018. I went to midnight at an AMC. It actually had it. It wasn't even an early show. It was midnight, and it was like because I saw that 5 times, and that was number one.
And there are times where Damien's like, "Hey, Dad, you want to go? We're gonna go to Alamo, and they're showing us a movie before it comes out. Do you want to go?" And I'm like, "Dude, it's like 1:00 in the morning. And I can't go. Like, I get home till 3. Like, I'm tired."
The last midnight showing I went to was Avengers Endgame. And I don't think it was even like a midnight showing. I think it was like a 10 o'clock showing or 11 o'clock showing. So, I mean, I still got home in enough time to get a few hours sleep before work.
Yeah.
Isn't that but that's one of the worst feelings. Like, it's great to see it. And then you like, I get 3 hours of sleep. You wake up 3 hours later. It's like,
yeah.
Get anything.
That was not.
I was still riding a bit of an adrenaline rush from seeing it though. So,
yeah, I still remember the feeling and the emotions watching that movie. Like, so badass. Seeing everybody on screen together.
But Infinity War is still better.
I don't know, man.
Infinity War had a better story.
It did, but the battle scene in fucking Endgame is way better.
I agree with that.
I mean, just fucking Cap finally wielding Mjolnir, like fucking dude, it was so Iron Man's sacrifice.
The best part of that was Thanos hitting Captain Marvel so hard he knocked her out of the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
And that was one of the few times I cried in a theater. The other time was Ghostbusters Afterlife.
I still cry watching fucking Ghostbusters Afterlife. That
Same.
goddamn Egon scene gets me every fucking time.
Well,
I don't know. The last time I cried in the theater was probably Godzilla -1.
Oh, you know what? I cried during -1. I did cry during -1. That's such a damn good movie. I need that. I need that movie. I need it to come out already.
Yeah, it is coming out in Japan. Is it beginning of April or beginning of May? It's getting a home release.
Well, they're getting it way before we are. So
way before.
Yeah.
And it's not going to have subtitles. So unless you understand Japanese, there's no point in buying it from Japan.
Yeah.
I unfortunately missed the theater run. So
it does include minus color.
Ooh.
4-disc set includes minus
Hell
color.
yeah. Nice.
I will be buying that because I missed the theater run. I suck for that one, but oh well.
I can't believe you missed it. It was so good.
Yeah, it was such a damn good movie.
I know. I regret it. I regret it, but I'll get the DVD and I'll just be like, fuck it. I know it's not the theater, but I know I'm probably gonna be like,
you need a surround sound system with fucking subwoofers to the max, and just crank that bitch up because fuck, man. I wasn't even sitting in the fucking 4D seats or whatever the fuck we were sitting in them, but we didn't activate them because it didn't give us the option. But there was one scene where it fucking activated on its own. Oh, the scene where he's flying the fucking airplane into Godzilla's fucking mouth. The seat fucking activated, and I'm like, oh shit, oh shit. And that was the only scene it fucking activated, and I was like, let's fucking go.
That's awesome.
God, why didn't I go?
But you know, even watching it the second time, because I went to watch it by myself and then I watched it with Mel, I still got emotional that second time, even though I knew everything that was going to happen. I knew the ending. I knew it still was, you know, it was still powerful. It's still a powerful movie no matter how many times you watch it. Exactly. I mean, I'm excited for Godzilla X Kong, but that's a completely different kind of excitement.
Yeah.
That's like
MCU Godzilla.
Yes, that is MCU Godzilla right there.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Just from the color.
Well, DCU, because, you know, Godzilla and Kong are in DC right now.
Sure.
So did you see what they did to King Kong in
Yeah, he's a fucking Green Lantern.
He's a fucking Green Lantern. They gave a monkey a fucking Green Lantern ring.
Wait, in the trailer?
In the comics.
I didn't go to the. I was gonna say, don't tell me that's because I didn't actually see the trailer.
No. It's in the comic book. They gave because of course Godzilla fucking bodied every single one of the Justice League members, kicked Superman's ass like it was no fucking big deal. And so of course, who can save the day? King Kong. But how can he save the day? Because he's a fucking Green Lantern.
Hell yeah, dude.
So I'm like, please don't give Godzilla a fucking Red Lantern ring. Do not give that fucking giant lizard a Red Lantern ring. That is the last thing we need for Godzilla to be a fucking Red Lantern.
I just suddenly really want a Green Lantern Kong figure.
Yeah, that'd be fucking dope. That'd be pretty
Todd
fun.
McFarlane, get on that.
Get on it. You heard us. Make it happen. All right, boys. Do we have anything else we want to talk about, or are we going to end this an hour fucking early?
Well, we still got a whole hour and a half episode, so that's still pretty good with the three of
That's
us.
pretty
Yeah,
good
we
for the
did.
three of
Yeah,
us tonight.
that's fucking solid. So I'm going to say hour and a half is.
Yeah.
For tonight, I think that's a fair time.
Yeah,
Yes,
all right.
I agree.
So if we don't got nothing else, Bobby?
This is your killing machine, Bobby Moan, saying we will see you next week, motherfuckers. Have a good night.
Yeah, buddy. This is your Dark Lord of Knowledge, your Chad Daddy way down yonder in the Chattahoochee saying, join us next week and see if I still hate X.
This is your host with the ghost, the Prince of the Paranormal, the Duke of the Dead, the Ghost Daddy, the Sinister Minister, Lord Scuba Cabra saying, see you next week. Don't forget to watch X. Peace.
Old man balls dangling in your face.